Hello everybody, it's Juliet here. I just wanted to take a moment to just say a few things. I haven't been online to speak to you directly for some time, and I do apologise for not appearing on video. I think I've shared this with some of you who've been following me for a long time, that I'm not somebody who likes to be in front of the camera much. And that's just something I will have to, I guess, navigate with Robert, because I think that I've never been somebody who has enjoyed being in front of a camera. I've always enjoyed being behind a camera, and especially a video camera. I'm more inclined to a photographic platform because I guess I'm just, I'll have to be honest with you all. I think that, you know, whereas so many people are fighting nail and tooth for 5 minutes of people's attention and look at me and pick me kind of attitude, like it's kind of become so corrosive and so toxic online, and people are putting Robert's name in their video titles and picking strangers that have nothing to do with Robert to speak about his story and speak about his cases, and using his name, using his image, all of that. I've been so careful about that. I know that I use it repetitively because I'm trying to actually tell Robert's story, his real story. And that's the difference between this platform and other platforms. And I just, this video might be a little bit all over the place, so please excuse me, because it's kind of really hard for me to, I guess, get all of this out and, you know, within a short span of time. But I wanted to explain some things. I think, first of all, you know, the whole video thing. I used to be photographed a lot when I was a child. I was in a newspaper article, I was in a magazine, a European magazine photographed me, you know, in there, you know, for a piece or an article, and I was 5 years old, and I used to get photographed a lot by strangers because I was living in a country where they hadn't seen a lot of people of my skin color, and back then it was like fascinating to a lot of people, and I think that made me very averse to people taking photos of me and being in front of the camera. And this is why I became a photographer, because I wanted to get more control of that, and also, yeah, control my image being out there a little bit. And it's funny how God works, because when I met Robert, that was something I really had to just challenge myself with, because even when I was singing in my 20s, and I was more active, like musically, when in my 20s, I gave up all of that and pursuing music back then because I did not want to be famous, which is really quite odd for a lot of people. That just, for me, I can't understand people who just want to be famous for the sake of being famous, whereas there are people that can't understand me for not wanting to be famous. And, you know, and I think that I've had a lot of narcissistic individuals lie about me and fabricate these stories that I'm, you know, looking for attention, looking for validation. And I really want to just state that I hope that some of you are realizing, or most of you, if not all of you, are realizing that Robert has had a lot of really mentally unwell and really corrupt individuals circling around him. It's not even just the people that were around and that were in his life. There were people that were always circling around, looking at him as an opportunity. And I want to explain all of that, because I think that some of you might learn from Robert's story, because some of you have really good hearts, and I can tell, because you're so open and so kind and trusting. And the problem with that in this world that's coming now, more and more, people are becoming very selfishly motivated. And I want to stress, though, that there's far more of us who care about other people, who care about and consider, and we're not looking for power, attention, money, fame, and to take advantage of people and use people. But there is a collection of people, and it's becoming more and more rampant with internet, because people are seeing things on the internet and they want a piece of whatever other people are experiencing, whether it be, a nicer house, holidays whenever they want, to, buy the things they want. Superficial things people are really fighting for, and they're doing it in such a horrible, evil way, because they've forgotten about life, human life, and how important that is to God and the value of that. And if people are not looking for the superficial things like cars and houses and things and property, commercial things, money, and I'll get into that topic one day, about finances and money, and the importance of that, but also the importance of having a godly perspective about it. But when it comes to if people are not looking for these superficial commercial things, then they're looking for accolades, whether it be promotions. They're looking for praise from people. They're looking for people to say to them, wow, you're so kind and you're so compassionate, and look what they did. And that's the whole thing with Me Too and Time's Up and these movements. Because I want to say that there've always been grassroots organizations fighting for, people, and I don't like the word victim. I'm going to call them just, collateral, people that have gone through trauma and traumatic experiences of violence and abuse. And there've been grassroots people that have been on call and ready to go and help people, and they will go to victims. They'll even pick them up. They'll even, they'll address them directly. People that are in need, real women and real children and real people and men even. And they will go and they will be there. And if they can't go, they will sit, and they have their offices open for people to come to them. And they're dealing with real victims of abuse, sexual, child abuse, all of it. And they are not getting the praise. They've been doing this. There are a lot of, one of the biggest, organizations, or one of the most, influential organizations in that would be, organizations that were started by Christians, and particularly the Catholic Church, but also other churches as well. You've got St. Vincent's, and you've got the Salvation Army, and you've got, all of these big names of. They their names, and they have organizations that have been helping people that are victims of abuse. So when you look at Me Too and Time's Up and what they did, it is completely different. These platforms or these groups, I know they existed long before 2018, and I've heard stories of Tarana saying that she was building that long before it became famous. And it was I will say that celebrities came in and they used these platforms to advance even their own altruistic, narcissistic images, and then their communal narcissism, which is this sense that I need to help people and need to save the world, because that's what celebrities are called to do, because I have all this money and all this influence, but I also want to be seen as a good person. And that's the problem I have with these organizations, is they collected a lot of money, they targeted influential and wealthy men, and they said, without even saying it directly, they are guilty on accusation. And it's still going on in the media. It is still going on everywhere, and they have left such hardship and damage to not just the legal process of